Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Real Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler. On this 30th day of July, looks like we've got about all 32 teams at this point in the NFL going through NFL training camp. The season is upon us, but I want to catch up with the Mad New Yorker. He's back online, going all the way back to have some quick takes on the World Cup, this 76ers thing. I said this on Monday's program. I do think this team could get to the Eastern Conference Finals, possibly get to the finals. I think it's that talented. Also go over some SEC predictions with the Mad New Yorker. Go recap a lot of stuff that I've talked about over the last two programs. So stand by, folks. We will be back here momentarily and hit the ground running here on the Real Sports Scope. Hello, Sports Scope followers. The program has seen tremendous growth since going 5 days a week. I just wanted to thank everybody for your cash contributions and sharing the program with friends and families. Just a reminder, if you want to contribute to the program, go to the Cash App, the cash sign, and Sports Scope. There are other ways to contribute to the program listed at the bottom of the screen. If you want to advertise on the program, go to sports, that is sports with an S, another S, scope, SKOPE, at gmail.com, just like it's listed at the bottom of the screen. Thank you and enjoy the program. All righty then, we'll bring the Mad New Yorkers back. Been gone for a while. I gave you a standing ovation there.
Thanks for having me on, man. Happy Thursday. Sorry.
Thursday, yeah. Yeah, we got a lot of football going on right now, a lot of practices. Also, I want to thank my man TQ came on the program the other day, talk a little Auburn. You know, they've got Alex Goulash, the former Tennessee offensive coordinator, when they played in 22 when Hendon Hooker, they made that run there and they beat Alabama. This guy comes from UCF or USF to Auburn. They're going to be a fun team to watch, man. I cannot wait for this season to start. But, you know, I want to get your thoughts real quick before we go do a quick recap. Man, LeBron goes to the 76ers, all basketball. As I said the other day, you know, if he would have done this in 2018, all basketball decision, took a massive pay cut like this guy could possibly have 6 rings, and then you've got to put him as the GOAT over Jordan of all time. But he didn't do that. He was, you know, brand building first and with the Lakers, and of course we know what happened there. He's just got 1 ring. He's got to tie Jordan at least to be considered to be the greatest of all time. He's got the points record and everything. But I do think this 76ers team will be legit, man. With him. You've got Hedgecombe, of course, Maxey there, Jaylen Brown trade. I think they can push your Knicks all the way to 6 or 7 Eastern Conference Finals, possibly get to the finals. What's your thoughts about that? Really took me by surprise there, Philadelphia.
Yeah, so Philadelphia did something that they should have been done like maybe 4 seasons ago. Busting up the team like that. It's a good thing they still have Maxey. They picked up Jaylen Brown. They a couple young players on that are coming up. I think that the one thing they haven't done well is gotten rid of Embiid. And we always talk about this every year, every season. I keep telling you, this guy's probably not going to give you 60 games. You're like, no, he's going to be fine. He's only actually played 2 seasons more than 70 games. Every other season after those 2, he hasn't been present. And even when he does come back, he's more, you know, he hurts the team sometimes more than he helps the team. So, but you can't get rid of that big contract, right? It's hard to get rid of that contract. So, now that
you talk, whose contract? Can you speak up a little bit, man? I can't hardly hear you, brother.
You can't hear me?
Yeah, I can, but it's low for some reason.
Okay.
Maybe it's because my air is on. I don't know.
So like, you know, when we talk about this, and now that Philadelphia picks up LeBron James, I'm thinking, okay, it's not a bad deal for LeBron James, but it's maybe a worse deal for Philadelphia, because then now you have to worry about 2 guys trying to play more than 60 games, And LeBron will probably play more than 60 games, but I still don't think Embiid can. And so and then you have a guy like Jaylen Brown, who last year had a great season, but he also was he was the number one starter, got most of the minutes because of the injury that was in Boston. So if Embiid can play more than 60 games, if LeBron can play more than 60 games, if Brown has another great season, how's all that going to happen if they're all going to demand the ball? They're all going to want to get their points, right? LeBron's not going to sniff at 20, like less than 20 points. And so Embiid's going to want the ball just to be part of the team, just to feel like he's fitting in and trying to do something. So he's not just going to want to block shots. And then you have Maxey. He's the one at the end of the day who's averaging more than 25 points a game for Philadelphia anyway. So it's not. This is gonna. The same thing is gonna happen like what happened to Phoenix a few years ago when they got Kevin Durant. So They have all these guys on a roster. They try to have a little bit of depth, and it did end up blowing up in their face because what happens is like everybody's gonna want the ball, and then you don't think about the injuries that could happen. You're just thinking about filling up the roster. So Philadelphia will do better this year. They might make the playoffs this year, but I don't think the Knicks have to worry about them. I think the Knicks would have to worry more about teams like Atlanta and Orlando, who are younger, who will be able to push those teams to games 6 or 7. I don't think Philadelphia will be able to do that. And I only think that they won't be able to do that because they're going to have 2 or 3 guys in there that are injury prone, and it's not going to help them in the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be a learning curve. I think LeBron's smart enough. He knows his minutes are going to have to be monitored. I think he knows that he's going to have to play a role and find that role in playoff ball. Nick Nurse is going to have his hands full managing this. I'm sure he's looking forward to it, though. LeBron signed for practically the league minimum to come over here. So he's taken a sacrificial type of approach to this, making a big sacrifice there. Like I said, I wish he would have done this before. Not really. I mean, I kind of like Jordan over LeBron, but kudos to LeBron for doing this. I think it'll be interesting if they can stay within the 5 to say 6 seed in that top non-playing game and stay relatively healthy. Yeah, they could make a run in the playoffs. It's all about minutes monitoring and keeping people healthy and load management. I know that people don't like to hear that, but there's going to have to be some serious load management with LeBron and, of course, Embiid.
and I mean, I feel like Jaylen Brown might actually have a great season again because there's going to be that opportunity where even if those guys don't have an injury that's going to put them out 3 months, they'll have like you said, that load management. They'll have games where they'll probably not be available, and Jaylen Brown will go ahead and Maxey, they'll rack up those points. But I mean, then LeBron's going to come in and be like, okay, I'm back. Let me get my 30 points for this game, and I'm not sure how that chemistry is going to work out. I'm just glad for the Philadelphia fans, for them to be to be excited again for their basketball team. But I just don't think this is.
Oh, they're going to have a lot of sellouts this year.
I would have gone the route of Atlanta and Orlando and tried to just get younger and get a couple of guys in there that can stay healthy, that will be be healthy but play better during, be used to playing in the back end of the season where you're like, it's not easy, right? So those guys that you name, Jaylen Brown,
Maxey,
LeBron James, and Embiid, if you looked at their postseason last year, they were not. It's not that they weren't healthy, but they weren't racking up points. You didn't hear about you didn't hear about 30+ games from them.
Everything's about Embiid. You kind of wish they can move off Embiid, but that's a whole different topic there. Get your quick take, man. I haven't spoke to you in a few weeks there. You've been busy and family stuff and everything and delays and whatnot. Spain wins the World Cup over Argentina. What's your thoughts about that win and this World Cup as a whole? this particular year?
It was the first time I saw Spain go out the way they did and win something that were not star dependent. Not to say
Yeah,
that they don't have any stars on their team, but they were
yeah,
more team oriented. Um, they had a they the goalkeeper did a great job. He only had one goal against him in the whole cup.
yeah.
Um,
Oh man,
the
they were the Bears defense of the
Yeah,
World Cup this year, man.
right. So like a lot of people who were not in who wanted to see scoring watching Spain, that
Yeah,
was something that you had to watch anyway. But I think also a lot of people don't realize that the coach for Spain coached a lot of those guys, like more than nine other guys on the team, were in a younger age. So he coached the under
yeah.
15.
Their young stars like 18, 19 year. I mean, that guy's super young.
Yeah,
Lamel,
the
whatever.
their actual coach coached them when they were younger, when they were
Wow.
under the 14, under 16, under 17, and under 21. He has coached nine of those guys. So, um,
Also,
the
the team cohesiveness is there. You can
right.
see.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
that's why you were able to see an organized defense. You were able to see these guys maintain possession, and you were able to see that they were very on time with each other. And so, but these are also older men now who will run through a wall for this coach because
yeah,
he brought him up. So
yeah,
there was a lot of that camaraderie, the esprit de corps that you wouldn't have, that a lot of these teams were missing. Teams like
yeah,
Brazil, teams like the Netherlands, and these teams that were high expectations, they weren't there because this
yeah.
team played together more or had the coach that was with them longer.
Than any
And
team in the World Cup this year?
I'm sorry.
Than any other team in this World Cup of the 48 or whatever?
Yeah, there was definitely like there might have been
Or
one or
one
two
of
more.
them, anyways.
There would have been
Yeah,
one or two more coaches that were from the youth program and moved up to coaching the older
yeah,
programs, but it wasn't the same thing because then you have players that came in that have played more overseas than they have in their own national team. So
yeah, yeah. What's your thoughts on the World Cup as a whole? I thought it was a tremendous success, man, beyond anybody's wildest dreams. No exaggeration there.
yeah, and the best part was the fact that being in North America with the Canada, New York, the United States, and Mexico, um,
Yeah, they
it
made a
was
few rounds. Yeah,
yeah, it was nice to see that all three of the countries working together despite what was going on the political side, and um, the fans were able to also move around and get to see a lot of parts of North America that they wouldn't have gotten to see if it was just located in actual one country. So
yeah,
yeah, it was really interesting, and also gave Canadians and Mexicans and Americans hope. Right, we were like, let's the cup
that's
is here
true.
in North America. Hopefully, we're the home team. We can do something. And both Canada and Mexico made it as far as they did, and they did a good job. But it takes more than just being a host country, man. As well as the United States, it takes more than just being a host country. And the next World Cup will be in Portugal, Spain, and Morocco,
Yeah,
and that's going to be interesting. And to see if the Spanish can maintain the cup. So
yeah, yeah. That's true, brother. Quick take. Listen, I think Bill Belichick. Now there was some bad news about North Carolina this week that the general manager in Lombardi's on administrative leave for something to do with an HR man, some complaint there. Not good. That being said, I do think Belichick will make a bowl game this year. I don't think he could. It could fall apart. I do see some improvement there with that North Carolina team. What do you think about that, man? Situation there and the great Bill Belichick in year two.
yeah, that suspension is not good.
It was
Not
administrative leave per
yeah,
se.
not yeah. That's not good for them right now at the moment. But none of that will affect the team as far as it being put everything that they need to on that field. I
Yeah,
believe that Belichick will have a run and try to get up into a bowl game, and I think it's going to be a lot easier and better for him this year. Coming up,
yeah,
they had a lot of guys come in through the NIL window, and they let go of some people through the NIL window, and so I'm sure that the team they have now will be able to at least make a bowl game. And if it's not a big bowl game, they'll at least be invited to one. I feel like
Yeah.
there's enough on that team roster to try to garnish a little bit of recognition.
Yeah, I think so too, man.
That defense is supposed to be hot. So
You think so?
uh,
Well, they'll be well coached. Another year with
right.
Belichick. I really do. People are really just taking. They're swinging at him. I think the media is doing this because he's treated the media like crap for years. But they're swinging at him like a pinata right now.
Short being ready
yeah.
to like it looks like a pinata right now. But look, at the end of the day, it's not him. He's just calling the shots. But it's those kids, and they got to put all the game on the field, man. They got to make it happen.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity for them this year to do well in that conference, man, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too, man. I don't think they're going to win the conference. That would be a great story if he proved everybody wrong and they came out of nowhere and played like Miami in the ACC championship game. I don't think that'll happen, but the conference isn't great. Louisville's a little bit of a threat. Georgia Tech's pretty decent. Miami is the class of the division. I was going to ask you about Dabo Swinney. I don't think he'll be fired or step down this year, but I think next year, if they have another 7-6 season, I think there'll be discussions about that. What do you think about him? Because he's always complaining about the way who was it? Paul Bonbon said he's always talking about the way things used to be. Well, the way things aren't the way they used to be. They are the way they are now. Once you make the adjustment or move on or move out, right?
Right, and I had Clemson High last year coming out.
Yeah, me and you both. Keith Engel too. He told me we all got egg on our face from Clemson.
Yeah, and I really thought that team had an opportunity when the injuries coming out from the quarterback. Though, again, what are you going to do?
Losing to LSU week 1 when LSU had a bad situation there, that didn't help.
Yeah, and so I feel like with Dabo, he has to be careful because he's going on a few years now where they're not competitive enough to be at a big bowl game, right?
Do you think that you don't think he'll be fired this year at the end of this year, do you?
I don't think that the people at Clemson want him gone, but I do think that if I'm Dabo Swinney, I better make good on that deal as much as possible because it just takes two people who are flipping the bill over there at Clemson to say something, and then all of a sudden the athletic director is going to get the athletic director might get it before Dabo. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. That's true.
It only takes a couple hotheads that are flipping the bill over there for that university to get that fire going. So
yeah. Last week we had the SEC championship games here. I do think Texas will rebound and get back in the SEC championship game. They've upgraded at running back. Mm-hmm. They've got this Cam Coleman guy. I was talking to my man TQ. He was ticked off about that. He was a transfer from Auburn.
That's right.
5-star receiver. He's going to be playing. Something was interesting. I haven't brought this up to the audience yet, but I heard this over the last few days. What's the Texas coach's name there? Steve Sarkisian said we've had to move off guys to make room to bring in new transfers for NIL. So they're bound, and Congress is still trying to air quote work this out where they could put a salary cap on NIL and college football. But he's saying, hey, listen, we had to make some tremendous sacrifices to bring in some new transfers. They've upped their running game. They've got this big name wide receiver. They've got a big time linebacker, and they brought in they brought in this guy from they brought in a new defensive coordinator here. And I have to go back to my notes, but he was money, their new defensive coordinator, and I'm trying to get his notes here. Cam Coleman, Will Muschamp. You remember Will Muschamp?
Oh, Muschamp, yeah.
Yeah, he's been a head coach. He was with Auburn. I think they'll get there, but they're going to play a much better Georgia team. How do you see this championship? And listen, you're out to change. It's July, but we're having media days last week. What do you think about the SEC championship game as you see it right now? I've got Georgia, and I'll explain Georgia, but I have Texas. We'll talk about Texas first. I have Texas in that. What is your thoughts on the SEC championship game?
Yeah. Everybody has Georgia and Texas right now for the championship to move on from.
Well, some people, my man Kevin has LSU in there.
Wow,
Coach Carroll, he thinks LSU is going to do a lot with Lane Kiffin.
My underdog.
Or what's your SEC championship game if you picked it today?
I would put Georgia and Texas A&M.
Okay, A&M, yeah. Well, A&M, hey, they won a lot of games last year. You know?
I got A&M for their defense. Apparently, they shored up their linebacking crew. They got a young guy at the corner now, and they still got the offense that's going to be blazing, coming out with fire. So
yeah,
I got them as my underdog coming in over Texas. And the only reason I say that is I think that there's a lot of pressure on Texas. Manning didn't do well with the pressure last year. It took him a while to get into a groove.
Yeah.
When he got to a groove, there was a couple games that he didn't play, and I didn't understand that. Because they had that other quarterback that came in. They were flip-flopping quarterbacks, and so
yeah.
Even if Manning takes the whole season, how many games is it going to take him to get into a groove? And this is college football, so he might lose 2 just because he's still trying to.
Do you think they'll beat? Now they play Ohio State in Austin week 2. I think they'll beat Ohio State. By the way, I was just talking about this the other day, not to get too far off the rails. Ohio State's got a very difficult schedule. They normally have a walk in a park schedule. This year it's like 5th nationally. Texas is according to Phil Steele here, and I'm sure most prognosticators in air quotes, most difficult schedule in the country is Texas, number 1. But they got Ohio State. I think they'll beat Ohio State week 2. Remember, it was a 1-score game last year with the whole new offensive line, and that was really his first start as the man. And he goes on the road week 1. They lose 14-7 to a great defense on Ohio State. We talked about, their defense had, 3 guys in the top 15 in the draft. So they were legit last year. What's your thoughts about maybe them getting that early win and setting the tone for the season? I think they will. I think they'll beat Ohio State week 2.
Listen, Ohio State is revamped. They're not going. They haven't lost too much of an edge. They did lose players, but I will say this: both Texas and Ohio State, it's preseason. This game will probably go to overtime or even a double overtime. And if this game goes to
that'll be a hype game if it does. The ratings will be
if it goes to a double overtime or even an overtime, that means that next game
will be rough.
Will be tough for Texas to try to come up with.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. I don't think they have a tough opponent after that, but now that you mention it, because I've got my magazine, Phil Steele. Remember Seth? He was trying to, that guy that came in with my man Rich, he was trying to coach us up on his magazines, and he was kind of coach us up on everything he knew. And then me and you smoked them in college football. We both picked Indiana. Then they didn't want to come back.
They should come back.
I told him, you got to get with the Phil Steele. So, they have, good for Texas. Good for Texas. They play UTSA after they play Ohio State. University of Texas, San Antonio.
Okay, so that
so they can beat those with their backups.
They're not going to need to, but that's still energy that
you kind of hope they'd play Tennessee after that, right?
Ohio State. Who do they play after that?
Oh Lord, that's a good question there. I'll have to go back here and
they play an easy game too. That was smart. They play Kent State.
Oh, Kent State. You got Ohio State schedule?
I just pulled it up right now.
Okay. That's interesting. Yeah, they both said, you know what, we're not getting.
They both know. So this is how we go. This is how we prognosticate football. So they both realize that no matter who wins that game, they're not going to be ready to play that next game.
Yeah. They don't want to play Oregon that after that.
Yeah. They're not playing a top 20 team after they play that game. Yeah, that's smart. That was smart of them.
Do you think that they could listen? People are still crazy in college football. I understand NIL makes it more difficult, but coaches still get fired. I think if they fall off in Texas this year, there's a possibility that they could move on from Sarkisian.
And I don't.
He's feeling that pressure.
Even if they have a decent record and they get a bowl game, Sarkisian will probably leave instead of get fired.
Oh, that's not the expectation is playoff run. It's not bowl game.
I know, but I'm telling you.
But you're saying he could get fired.
He will probably leave. He will probably leave before he gets fired.
Yeah, he's like, you know what? Oh, the Packers are calling? Yeah, I'll go to Green Bay.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I'll go to Tampa.
Yeah.
One of my hot takes
I'll go back and be a coach over there for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah. So, you mentioned Georgia. Okay, going back to that championship game. Georgia, most sites have them, like Yahoo, CBS, best offensive line in the country.
Yeah.
They've got Stockton back there, Gunnar Stockton at quarterback. Defense, much improved defense.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia, of all teams, their schedule's like 18th in the country. Okay. Only weakness they have would be at receiver. They've got young, unproven receivers, but they got multiple tight ends they use. They're going to have a much better running game, much easier path, schedule. I think it's really made a clear path for them to get back to – they were 10-2 last year, and we're criticizing them. To get back to the SEC chair, I think they'll beat Texas, probably in a close one. That still don't say Texas couldn't make the playoff. Texas could still make the playoff with 3 losses. Alabama did last year. So I think that'll be fine. What's your thoughts about Georgia this year with a pretty decent path there for them?
Yeah, for flying colors, I agree with what all the media is saying about Georgia, that they'll be coming out of this division, out of this conference first. That's like to me that's engraved. Put it down, pick up the bill later when they in the championship games, in the playoff games. I'm not keen on Texas, and you have people talking on the side. Ole Miss might come back and give the SEC a run. Texas A&M going to come back and give SEC a run.
Do you think Marcel Reed? That's the biggest question. Going back to A&M, is he going to make that next step? And the quarterback there, Marcel Reed,
right,
and take them to the promised land. That's my question to you about them. So you're saying they will because they're going to get in the championship game, the conference.
I think that Texas A&M will knock off Texas and sneak into the playoffs. Yeah. And I only
they play at the end of the season. Yeah.
I say that only because that defense, even if that quarterback can give them 21 points, that defense is going to keep that other team from getting 21 points. Like that defense is solid. They got a lot of returning guys coming in, and that's another reason Georgia is still slated to become out number one because the returning players they have. They got they'll have over 13 or 14 returning players, and all of them are
14 returning starters. One of the best lines in the country.
14,
not just in the conference, in the whole country.
All those guys coming back are more than 4 stars.
Yes, and listen, they played well last year. And
you got to give it to them, to the kids who put on the field. They played well. They put it all out there. And as much as Kirby Smart tried to do things and be creative offensively, the kids, they put it out there, and they had a good squad, and they're gonna. Most of them are coming back. And I would, and we talked about this with NIL. I would come back too. I would be like, you know what? They're gonna pay me they're gonna give me an actual salary where if I would have gone to the NFL draft, I don't know what I would have made. I don't know what team I would have gone to. So now they're coming back. They're getting their education still. That's not off the table.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So they played, those guys played it perfectly because now they have the opportunity of making a playoff run, and they don't have to talk about winning the season. They can just focus on every game for what it's worth, and then they'll be in the playoffs because they have the best team to do that in the SEC.
Yeah, I like Georgia to win this thing, and I mean Georgia's toughest road game is probably at Ole Miss on November 7th. My take on Ole Miss is I like Trinidad Chambliss as a person. I think he's got a great story, but by November 7th, Ole Miss he'll be that much farther away from Lane Kiffin. Okay, Lane Kiffin's correcting his mistakes and whatnot, and I think he'll start to fall apart as a quarterback and fall into some bad habits at that point in the season. So I think Georgia will win that game at home against Ole Miss on November 7th. I mean, they do play Oklahoma, but that's at home, and Vanderbilt's at home. Oh, wait, they do play at Alabama. Alabama's had their number. Alabama's got a freshman quarterback. By the way, boy, TikTok people are killing me for saying that DeBoer was going to get fired at the end of this season. Yeah, I think DeBoer with the $72 million buyout could very well get fired at Alabama. What do you think about, Georgia playing at Alabama? I don't think that's going to have the same – they're getting one more year away from Saban. They're going to fall farther and farther into the pits, if you ask me, Alabama. What do you think about that game and that situation?
Yeah, and they're even slated this year, and the prediction is giving them 6 in the SEC.
Alabama.
So that's who.
So you're on that train where you think he could get fired, even regardless of the buyout.
Yeah, I mean, if he doesn't quit by Thanksgiving, he's gonna be fired. I'm just, I would put myself out there. If I'm trying to get an NFL job, be like, you know what, I'm out, because I don't want. You want to make sure you got a job come February. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
So you're not.
Or you take all that buyout money and just chill. DeBoer looked great at Washington. I didn't think he realized the Lions' den that he was going into down in Alabama, where you're following the greatest of all time. You can't run the ball in a physical school like that. That just doesn't sit well with the fans.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem is the noise. I don't think it's the coaching. Because what happens is that even if he doesn't care about the noise, all them kids going to school, all the stuff in the papers, all these kids wanting to get into the NFL.
Online shows like mine.
They're going to get, especially if they're not mentally tough and mentally ready to be crap. You're talking about 4 and 5 star players that are being crapped on, where they were always being, pushed up and then they come to Alabama. They're expected to win. They're not winning, and then all of a sudden they're what's wrong with the program. When in essence, it's not. It's just things aren't falling into place because Saban was different. Saban, he worked with the students. Saban worked with alumni. Saban worked with the school, right? He kept everybody listen. He kept everybody on the same perspective and in it one game at a time. And we're going to be you're going to see us in the playoffs.
Yeah, and it's a tough act to follow. With his, he had a program from top to bottom, and it's hard to emulate that kind of work ethic, man.
And he brought in NFL coaches to recuperate from being fired, recuperate from being humiliated, recuperate from
coach and rehab, rehabilitate your image.
And these guys turned around and went back to another school or went back to the NFL. So, and I'm not saying that DeBoer had to do any. Nobody can beat Saban, and he had to follow up Saban. So you're right. I feel like you're right on that, and then the expectation on these kids. How you have a university full of 5-star players on offense and defense, and you can't get ranked over 4 in your conference.
Now, a lot of people's finish. Phil Steele, for example, I think he's got them 3rd in the SEC. I think he's way off here. He has them finishing, I think, 3rd. Phil Steele, I disagree. I'd much rather put an A&M up there or an LSU at 3rd. I probably would put LSU. I would put it. Matter of fact, that's a good transition there. I've got LSU not making the conference championship, but finding a way in the play. They've spent a lot of money you know?
Yeah.
And they've got a great quarterback there that I think is going to play well. And I think they're going to be a playoff team. What are your thoughts about them being a dark horse in the SEC to possibly slide into this 12-team playoff?
Let's go. How about this, Robert? Go 1 through 5, your SEC teams. 1 through 5.
Okay. These are the teams.
No, that you picked. That you picked.
Yeah. Well, obviously, I just mentioned Georgia, Texas. Okay.
Yeah, we're both on
Georgia, Texas, LSU.
Ooh.
These are dark horse. But the LSU I have in the playoff. Other teams that are bubble teams to get into the playoffs would be. I'll have to go back to next Thursday. Let's see, both predictions. I'm trying to find it. I mentioned Ole Miss because of the players Ole Miss was practically in the national championship game last year. You know, they're a bubble team, but let's see. I'm trying to see here. Okay, so Ole Miss, LSU, and of course, the other would be, like I said, Tennessee would be one of those teams that's a possible dark horse to get in, bubble teams to get in. Oklahoma, I'm sorry. The other was Oklahoma. That's the one I was forgetting. For some reason, I didn't put A&M. Okay, yeah, Texas A&M. Yeah, Texas A&M. They've got 18 starters to transfer. So I've got A&M, LSU, Ole Miss, and the very last possible double bubble team would be a Tennessee in the SEC. And so you've heard those teams. Those are the 5 bubbles there. 4 bubble teams, 1 likely team, 1 lock prediction to get in the playoffs is LSU. Okay. 4 bubbles. My knock on Oklahoma is there's no creativity with John Mateer in that offense. We know they got the defense. We saw it last year. But we've also seen that team look very lethargic. We've seen him making up a lot of stuff even before his hand injury. They didn't have that impressive. It's him making big plays with his legs. We saw Ole Miss destroy them. Remember last year when we both picked Oklahoma to beat Ole Miss? And Ole Miss just handled them, man. I mean, there's no creativity with Mateer whatsoever. That's the big knock on their coach there. What's your thoughts about bubble teams that could get in the playoffs there from the SEC?
Yeah, so my list as 1 through 5 is Georgia, Texas A&M, Texas, Oklahoma, LSU, and then UT or Alabama on the bottom.
So you still have Alabama as one of those chances, huh?
Yeah, on the bottom with UT. So
yeah. Tennessee would be on my bubble. I don't have Alabama. And I mean, Alabama may do it. I mean, I may be way off. They got talented players. They've had a good recruiting class. Ironically, if they could fix that running game, yeah, this could be a moot point. They could be back on track. I just don't see if they're going to be able to do it, man. Plus, they've got that freshman quarterback. Same thing with Vanderbilt. They're going to start a true freshman. Vanderbilt's going to start. He's out of here in Nashville. He's a 5-star kid. He was a big get for Vanderbilt. But we saw the national championship game. You saw 3 and 4-year players there with the 2 quarterbacks that were in the national championship game. That's where this league is going. Through NIL, you're going to see guys like Dante Moore play late in the season. You know, guys that could have went to the NFL last year.
Yeah. And for my prediction for the actual 2 teams to be left is Oregon versus Georgia.
Yeah, and we can do it. We can do an actual playoff show later on.
Yeah. As
we get closer to the season, like we did last year, we'll just pick the whole 12-team playoff. So I got Georgia winning the SEC right now. Texas will probably make it. They'll lose the SEC even with 3 losses like Alabama did last year. And I've got LSU. So since I've got 3 teams in the playoff this year, I talked about the Big Ten on Monday. I think Ohio State's going to make it, but I think they'll struggle. And I think Indiana could very well be right back in this thing, man.
Well, most definitely. And they got a lot of guys coming back, even though they're losing
Yeah.
a quarterback. So
Yeah, I mean, Cignetti very well may be the best coach in the country now. The best X's and O's, disciplinarian. Even though he's only got one championship, I know Kirby's got two, right? Dabo's got two and very much struggling. Rondé's got one, although he has found a way to manage all this talent. There could be a scenario where they could lose. Ohio State could lose 3 games and not make it. But I think they'll find a way to muster just 2 losses and find a way in there. But this is not an easy path for Ohio State, man. This is the toughest schedule I think they've ever had, to be honest with you.
I think it's better for them to have this schedule because when they have to face Michigan, it's not going to be one of those things that it'll be easier to say, okay, Michigan has to play better to try to get to try to win that game. So
yeah, 91. I can go back to their flip and do conferences here. So yeah, you're still buying in to something. A&M's got a lot of money. I don't see how they can't. I don't see how they can't turn it around and keep. As long as Reed makes that next step and don't make a bunch of big mistakes, they can win off their defense. That's a good point there. I may have undersold them a little bit, but okay. Ohio State, check this out. At Texas week 2, talked about that. I think Texas will beat them, but then they got Kent State. You mentioned Kent State, Illinois. At Iowa, those are winnable games. But October 17th at Indiana, I think Indiana could probably win that game, man, at home.
They play Maryland first.
Yeah, Maryland. Well, Maryland for the homecoming. Okay. Yeah, they could be caught looking ahead and lose to Maryland. I don't think so. But then after their bye week, it's at USC, Oregon, Northwestern, at Nebraska, then Michigan. So you got Michigan, at USC, Oregon after USC. That Oregon game is going to be a tough game. Oregon's got a pretty young offensive line, but they could be gelling by then because they're playing them on November 7th. So they could potentially lose. I think they'll lose to Texas. If they lose to Texas and Indiana, I think they'll win the rest of these games and find a way to slide in. But who's to say they couldn't lose at Oregon? Who's to say they couldn't lose to Michigan, who's got the new coach now?
Oh, that's right. They do have a new coach. That's right.
Yeah, Oregon 13-2. Oregon's have one of the better defense in Michigan with Kyle Whittingham coming over from Utah. They got Michigan's got UCLA at home, and then they play Ohio State the traditional game at the very end of the season. Whittingham's going to size up the defense. The running game is going to be better. I think he'll limit the mistakes there. But this young second-year quarterback here, this Bryce Underwood, who was a 5-star recruit his freshman year, I think he was the best player in the country. He was the highest-rated player in the country. He played all of this season as a freshman and not did too bad for a true freshman. That being said, Ohio State still at home. Ohio State, like Texas, will have one of the best offenses. This running back from Ohio State is going to be money. His name's Bo Jackson, like the great Bo Jackson. And we know Jeremiah Smith's going to be a top 5 pick. Him and Sayan has had a well of an off season from what I'm hearing and reading. So
yeah, and I'm reading also that they, even with the offense that they have, they're still going to have a stout defense.
Who's that? Ohio State? Yeah. And then you got Kirk Cinetti. I mean, a lot of the Big Ten people, by the way, they're talking a lot of trash. Vanderbilt or Georgia really needs to win this national championship. Talking about they're the best conference and everything now. And
I think when it comes to Ole Miss, Alabama, and LSU, they have to be careful. Those Georgia has to be careful with those teams, and Texas as well. They need to be careful because they can't sleep on these guys who are chomping at the bit to want to make Eli look. I mean, to want to make Manning look bad. So
Yeah, I think, and by the way, they will have number one, or they're going to have one of the best offenses in the absolute country as well. Texas, they've got this big running back here called Hollywood Smithers.
Yeah.
That sounds big time, right?
I mean, listen, I'm hoping both of those kids can rack up the yards.
It's good for the game, you know.
Yeah, and also for Archie over there to make sure that he can stay in the game. Like, he's not forced to make the long throws. He can play make. He doesn't have to be forced to be pressured into doing things. So
yeah. So my prediction on Ohio State, 2 losses. They'll probably play Indiana again in the championship game. It'll be neutral site. It won't be at Indiana. I think they'll probably beat Indiana that game, but who knows? Who knows? They've only got defensive side of the ball. Let me double check this. 4 players from last year. They got 2 transfers, so they have 6 starter level players according to Phil Steele. 5 new players, but they recruit well. The Ohio State, it's hard to replace 3 first-round picks on defense.
And so some of these kids that come in, they're going to make a name for themselves. You know, they're like 3-4 stars. They're going to come up and they're going to make big plays. They got opportunity to make something of that scholarship that they're getting. So
yeah. So you're pretty high on LSU as well.
I think they'll be competitive. I think they'll Ole Miss, LSU, and Oklahoma. They're going to be in that mix fight.
Who is your first bubble? Okay, you said you have Texas A&M and Georgia in the SEC championship game.
Yep.
Okay, there's a very good chance both of them is going to make the playoff if that's the case. All right. Who's your first team on the bubble after that?
I have Texas and then Ole Miss.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, Texas.
I can't. Everybody's hoping for Archie to hit, and I'm like, I'm done with hope. I want to see it. You know what I'm saying?
Let's put up or shut up for Arch Manning.
Yeah, it's like, and even if he doesn't do well, he's going to be drafted high in the NFL. But my thing is like, are you going to get the Archie Manning that looks like Peyton Manning at UT the year before UT won the championship, or are you going to get the Eli Manning that took Ole Miss to a bowl game and rocked it out with that team? What kind of Manning are we going to see? Are we going to see his own presence come up and he'll just be something totally different, right? And the fact that he has his uncles and his grandfather and his, and his dad that played football, all that family history, all that he needs to wipe the slate clean and be like, yo, I'm Arch and I do what I do. But he needs to play like he does what he does, not like we'll wait for tomorrow for the Arch Manning that was doing well in high school. Like we can't, and what's worse is any NFL scout that sees that he's a rhythm quarterback, that he's just going to fall down, right?
Yeah. Do you see them having 3 losses? I think that just going back over their schedule, we mentioned Ohio State week 2. They play at Tennessee September 26th. That's 2 weeks later. They're going against probably a true freshman quarterback there. Tennessee will give them a run for their money 2 weeks later, but I think they'll probably knock out Tennessee, don't you think?
Yeah, they'll probably beat Tennessee. And it won't be by much. It'll probably be by a field goal.
And then they play the Red River rivalry off of a bye week, the Oklahoma game.
That game they might lose because Oklahoma's
it always depends on if Oklahoma's healthy,
Right, yes.
But I still have them winning that. And then they got Florida. Florida's a total wild card with the new coaching staff there, with Summerall. But I still think they'll make up that loss against Florida. Remember, they lost at Florida last year.
That's right, they did.
They'll make up for that. But then they got Ole Miss at home the very next week. So that could be their first loss right there.
I'm trying to see.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but look at that. But okay, so if they lose, let's say if they lose to Oklahoma, they have to beat Florida and Mississippi back to back.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm banking on them beating them. They'll be off a week. And now, like I said, John Mateer, that lack of creativity I think they'll beat Oklahoma in that game. Although it'll be an emotional game. Well, Florida could catch them flat. You never know. They could catch them flat after that bit. That's why I say that their schedule is very difficult, man.
And Mizzou,
if they lose that Ohio State game, all bets could be off for them.
Yeah.
Because they're going to catch an L in the SEC or two.
The middle of their calendar is not good. They have to play Florida, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, and then Missouri. And
Missouri's very good this year. On the road, too.
Yeah, and then they have to end with LSU, Arkansas, and A&M. That's crazy.
Oh, yeah. They can lose to LSU and at A&M on a Friday. They match up well against A&M. They beat them last year. But you know what? The old adage is in the SEC, it's not that first game to get you, it's that next one.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know? That's why I don't like that middle. That middle, there's no break for them. There's no true break.
They could get caught sleeping against Arkansas.
Tell you what. Yeah, because let's say you beat LSU, you took them to a overtime for whatever reason. Then you got to come back.
And you're flat against Arkansas.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's Murder's Row, number 1 in the country.
I like it.
You know, we'll see. I mean, they've got depth this year. They've got a running game this year, and they've got an experienced offensive line.
Again, my question is, what are we going to get from Manning? What? And if he's not, here's the thing: if he's not in tune, are they going to play somebody else? Are they willing to move him?
Well, that's a story and a half. You talk about a monumental bust. If this dude gets benched this year. See, that's why and you know this is what what his dad, his uncles are telling him. They're saying you don't need to listen to none of this nonsense out here. Because if he does, the pressure could just make him pop like a freaking. I think he handled it well last year. Again, think about Ohio State last year. They lost 14. Now they did get hammered by Georgia, 35-10. But that Ohio State game. 14-7, one of the best defenses in the country on the road. You know, look, they won their last 3 games. They beat Texas A&M after they got humiliated by Georgia. It's like they had to come together. Now, of course, it's at A&M on a short week this way. I mean, like I said, even if they lose that A&M game, I think they'll probably lose one more SEC game, and then they'll find a way in. They'll find a way in. That don't mean that they're not going to go to overtime. You know?
I know, man. I know.
So
if there's a team that's going to take other teams to overtime, it's Texas.
Yeah. They're really, and this guy's name is this running back that's getting a lot of talk here. Yeah, Hollywood Smothers. I mean, I got a feeling you're going to hear that name a lot coming up in the fall here. You know, but anything else you need to plug there, Chief? We'll come back to that. We'll do a 12-team playoff like we did before. It's early, man. Anything can happen. Injuries can happen. You know.
Oh man, look, I'm ready for the seasons to come up. I'm ready for baseball to get down to the playoffs. I know
Any predictions on the? Do you see the Yankees making any? When's the trade deadline? Next week.
Monday.
Yeah.
There's always going to be moves made. The way Yankees do things is they'll make a move or two, and they'll probably be like guys from the minors to probably drop off some guys there just to pick up some pitching. I'm not sure what the Mets are going to do. They can do anything and whatever they want at the end of the day. You know, the team's not going to the playoffs, I don't think. And then, the NL and the AL, they got a few teams in the top that are going to be making some moves. I would look for teams like Minnesota to make a move, the White Sox, teams like the Braves.
That'd be nice to see the Braves do something to compete with the Dodgers.
Yeah, because the Dodgers don't have that many moves they have to make.
Yeah, man, they're doing good.
Yeah, so, except for the Otani, hopefully he gets back into things, but because I don't like seeing a playoff where he's not healthy. So
yeah, is he banged up?
He got banged up a few days ago.
Okay,
he didn't play against the Mets when he was here this past weekend, but I expect him to be back in the next few days.
Yeah.
With him, he goes out and he's just a player. He's just like one of those P Rose type of players, man. He's just gonna play whether he's hurt or banged up or not. It's kind of like cool, but it's not good for the team because then you don't know which Otani you're gonna get, right? So you're gonna get guys come hammering away at hits or throwing hard as a pitcher, or you're gonna get this guy who's just gonna like kind of be a little gentle on doing things. So
yeah, I got to start paying more attention to baseball now. The World Cup is passed. We ain't quite got I got about a month to pay attention to baseball. Then it's back off to football. That's why I said I wish the season ended around now and had the playoff.
And like if you enjoy soccer or football, the season starts. A lot of the seasons already started for some of these around the world for club teams.
Yeah,
and people are going off, and some people are starting to follow some of the players that they saw, and it gets good, man. It gets busy, man. It gets busy.
Yeah, so. Yeah, that's true. All right, Mad New Yorker, everybody. One more. Hey, appreciate you. I didn't get a chance to ask you about Tennessee. We'll make a note. We'll talk about Tennessee football, the Vols, next week. Just remind me on that, buddy.
Yeah, man.
All right, buddy. Mad New Yorker again. Folks, I'll see you Monday. I'll be back here live Monday and talk about everything going on. I'll do a few replays between now and then. We'll be getting you know what? I'll make this tease. Monday I'll be breaking out a few NFL divisions, give you my prediction for that. So have a good night, everybody. Thanks for watching. If you like the show, please share the show and make sure to follow at the Real Sports Scope YouTube channel.